Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that is near and dear to me, 90s cartoon characters. In the 80s and 90s, cartoons were huge. Kids literally waited the entire week just to see their favorite cartoon, which isn't like today at all, where you can just look on YouTube or the internet and find anything you want anywhere at any time. We had to wait weekly for new cartoons. Without further ado, in 2017, older millennials rejoiced and all got together to see one of Disney's live-action films, one of the most timeless classics, Beauty and the Beast. When it was released, it was met with generally good reviews and made about $1.2 billion. It was the second highest grossing film of 2017. It won awards and Emma Watson won praise around the world. I absolutely loved it. I feel like most people did. Some people did not. It became the highest grossing live action musical film and the second highest grossing film of 2017. But that doesn't mean that the film wasn't met without some controversy. After the director of the film, Bill Condon, had mentioned that one of the Disney characters was actually going to be gay and have just a little bit of a gay moment, homophobes around the world freaked right out. In Russia, it was given a 16+ rating. Like, remember what you were doing at 16? Movies with particular relationships were not the worst thing that you were watching and or doing. You've got to be 16 to see Beauty and the Beast, so I don't want to tell you what I was doing at 16 that was much worse than seeing movies. A theater in Hennigar, Alabama did not even screen the film. In Malaysia, the film censorship board had insisted that the gay scene be cut, which it's like a 2-second scene, Lefou dancing with another man and realizing his true love. They ended up not getting the film cut and ultimately decided on a PG-13 rating. Again, I was doing a lot worse things at 13 than watching movies. In Kuwait, the movie was withdrawn from cinemas by National Cinema Company. And the tweets. Oh, so many negative tweets. You just learn so much about humanity through comments and tweets. When all this news and backlash came out and it was heard around the world, all I could think was, shit, if these homophobes feel this way about something that is as normal and everyday as a man being in love with or having a relationship with another man, then you need to keep them away from me. Because I was in love with the candlestick. And I don't mean just any kind of love. Oh my god, like, look how cute this candlestick is. I mean, I had dirty thoughts about this candlestick. I was about 5, I think. When did the original movie come out? Probably around that time, 5 or 6. Lumiere had my whole heart. Well, dang, actually, now that I think of it and put some brain action into this, I think that all of my crushes from 10 and earlier were in fact on cartoon characters. So I thought it would be funny to create a video in which I talk about all the cartoon characters that I had crushes on. Some are objects and some are animals, but none of them are human cartoons. There ain't no Jessica Rabbits in this video. She's really hot, like she's really hot. So here's a list of the 90s cartoon characters that I had a crush on and why I'm actually the weirdo. So the first one is obviously Lumiere. On Disney Wiki fandom, he is characterized as charismatic, yet rebellious. That just is a hot description. When you don't realize it's a candle, and he's got some charisma, but he's sort of a bad boy. He's a bad candle. He is the Casanova of all candelabras. He is a suave, vivacious gentleman. I will link below where I got that from because the whole wiki fandom thing is just so adorable. I can just picture someone writing all these descriptions and being like, yeah, he was totally hot. He's a suave, vivacious gentleman and treats Belle with respect. How hot is that? He's a rebel and treats someone with respect. And she actually just breaks into his house and he still loves her. He's still like, you know what? I see that you did a B&E and I think that you'd be perfect for the Beast. It also says that the feather duster is his significant other, and I cannot tell you how jealous I was of that feather duster. I did not want that relationship to happen. I think the most humorous part about this is that in the end you do see that he is a human, and I still didn't love him as the human. I still preferred the candle. I still had dreams about this candle. Maybe it was the heat he emitted from his hands, Or maybe it was his half-closed stoner eyes. For whatever reason, Lumiere did it for me. Moving on, my next character actually comes from a show called Tailspin. It takes characters from the Jungle Book and spins the tale into a different tale. Whatever, it was one of my favorite shows, and I had the biggest crush on one of the characters, and his name was CLOUDKICKER. CLOUDKICKER. The story is actually centered around Baloo and all of his mishaps. He works for Hire for Hire, which is some airplane company. I don't really know. I think he had his own company or something like there's an elaborate story of why these bears fly planes. Baloo inevitably meets up with Kit, who is an orphan bear, and together they fly planes and keep the sky pirates out of the town, and other crazy drama ensues, or whatever drama that could possibly happen to a bunch of cartoon bears in this random made-up town. Kit serves as a navigator for Baloo's plane. He is apparently a 12-year-old bear who wears a green sweatshirt and a backwards cap. Can we just talk about how hot backwards caps were when you were a kid in the 90s? Like, I wear my hat backwards and I don't listen to my mom when she tells me to clean my room. Oh my god, so hot. You're such a badass. But one of the sexiest things he did, cloud surf. And I feel like that's where people are going to remember the cartoon. Usually when I mention Tailspin, people are like, what show is that? What are you talking about? The bear, he used to fly on a little surfboard and get rid of sky pirates, I guess? I don't know, but his cloud surfing was like the hottest thing to me. And apparently when I was a kid, I liked to imitate what I thought was hot. So even if I wanted to get with that bear, I also wanted to pretend to be him. Freud would have had a field day with me if he was still alive. I would fold up a piece of paper exactly like the one that Kit would fly on, tie a string to it, and then pretend that I was flying on this particular surfboard. What can I say? In the 90s, I was kind of a glue eater, and I think those were the days when there was still toxins in the glue. I can actually remember being in kindergarten thinking, like, I don't believe in Santa Claus. I'm not really sure about this God and Jesus thing either, but I do believe that if I want it bad enough and dream about it and think about it all the time, that me and this cartoon bear could definitely have a committed, loving relationship.
A committed, loving relationship.
Again, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Next up on my list is a cartoon character from a show called The Gargoyles. I had the hugest crush on the main character. His name was Goliath. He was a gargoyle and he was super hot. I'm not sure about licensing issues, so I went ahead and drew you guys a picture of Goliath. Look at how hot. How hot is he? Like, such a gorgeous gargoyle. And I also, again, this is another situation where I used to pretend to be the person that I was obsessed with. I would put a towel on me and use my hands as claws, and then I would wrap myself around with this towel and I would stare like a gargoyle. Sort of like this. This is my claws. Wrap and wrap. And there's the claws still. And I would literally just sit on the couch and stare. Now that I'm saying this, I don't know if it's really that bad that our kids do spend a lot of time on iPads. He was just a really, like, a manly man, and I hate saying that because I know people are like, what's a manly man? If you ever met a gargoyle and it came to life, pretty sure you'd be like, that's a manly man. Someone who can take care of you or bite someone's head off should there be an apocalypse. A zombie apocalypse, I really need someone who can bite a head off. So I would date Goliath in a heartbeat still to this day. I mean, he was a grown-up, so it's not as weird as the child bear. Next up, I have another sort of bad boy. I don't know if everyone remembers Darkwing Duck. It was another one of my absolute favorite shows. Getting up every week to watch Darkwing Duck, I just loved it. One particular character that I was obsessed with was NEGADUCK. Now, most of my life I actually thought it was MEGADUCK, and I almost think that would be better, but then I realized, oh, it's negative Darkwing Duck. He was the bad boy. I didn't have a crush on Darkwing Duck, but NEGADUCK was hot. Darkwing Duck was a show where a duck, literally, he had a secret identity, which was Drake Kennard. I guess that was his real name or something like that. Ooh, Drake Mallard. He had a secret identity. He was Drake Mallard. Darkwing Duck is sort of like a Superman, except for it's a duck. He would hang out with his adopted daughter, Goslin, and his friend, Launchpad McQuack, and together they would solve crimes. He was definitely the sexy bad boy. He was known for weapons of mass destruction and causing harm to anyone and anything. You know what's weird? As a kid, I really wanted to be good, but for some reason I wanted my cartoon boyfriend to be like a bad boy. Also, NEGADUCK wore a turtleneck, and I'm a really big fan of a turtleneck. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the cartoon characters or the cartoon itself, I will drop a few links down below. Definitely leave a comment if you have any questions, because I'm totally willing and able to answer 90s cartoon questions. Last but not least, and still a huge favorite of mine today, would be Bart Simpson. Honestly, if you don't know Bart Simpson, you are living under a rock. That, or you have parents that actually monitor what you watch, and good for them. We need more good parents in this world. But you also need parents like my mom who allowed me to watch anything so that weirdos can grow up like me. This crush sort of extends to Nancy Cartwright as well. If I met her today, I feel like, I don't think that I would be super starstruck by so many people. That's one that I would. There was actually a video out on the internet where someone who claimed to be a big fan met her, and he absolutely did not know who she was because he's too young to know that Bart is voiced by a woman. So there's a lot of stuff that us older millennials kind of actually already know about, and younger millennials, you're not allowed to meet Bart Simpson if you don't know it's voiced by a woman. I was ticked by that. I was actually hurt. Other people's gains in life are not my loss and all that positive impact type stuff, but I was just so jealous because I would die to meet Nancy Cartwright. Now, I do realize this is sort of a short list, but I do want to give a couple of shout outs. 1, Simba. Hot. Also voiced by Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who was my first actual human crush. I remember he was on Entertainment Tonight or something like that, and I was like in kindergarten, and I was like, this guy makes me feel a certain way. That just blossomed into, well, now I need to see Lion King, and now I need to see Tom and Huck. And Tom and Huck came at a time when I was actually outgrowing Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and I saw Brad Renfro. Brad Renfro was so hot. So was Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I don't know what happened to Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Unfortunately, I do know what happened to Brad Renfro, and it makes me upset, and I've listened to many podcasts about it, and I don't want to talk about that on this channel. Harley Quinn. I'm gonna give a special shout out to Harley Quinn. Honestly, she was really hot too. So was Catwoman, but I was actually in love with Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I would have done anything to be her, be near her, breathe the same air as her, in the same space as her. So I don't want to say that Catwoman was a huge crush from the cartoon, but definitely Harley Quinn, she was smoking. Spinelli. I think it was from a cartoon called Recess. She was just such an androgynous girl who knew exactly what she wanted, and she could dress however she wanted, and she did not give a shit. She hung out with the boys, and one smart girl, and Gretchen. Was it Gretchen? Please don't hate me if it's not Gretchen. She hung out with the boys, she could hold her own. Honestly, like, I wanted to be her. Like, again, I, for some reason, wanted to be the people I had crushes on at this age. I think that there's probably something going on mentally, and maybe that's something I need to do research on or write a paper on. Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks. He was totally a hot chipmunk. Bugs Bunny. And I won't lie to you, I found him just as hot when he put on the wig and was Girl Bunny. I can go either way. Also, another shout out goes to Falkor from The Neverending Story. I didn't necessarily have a crush on him, but I did want him to be my dad. I just felt like he was a very protective type of luck dragon. Really saves Atreyu from dying in this quicksand or mud or whatever after his poor horse, you know, that traumatic scene where the horse dies. Falkor swoops in and saves him. And then he saves Sebastian from the bullies. Why can't it be my dad? Now, I've definitely grown up and matured, and I can safely say that the hot cartoon character is definitely Archer. I guess the real moral of the story here is if you believe that a man loving a man or a woman loving a woman or anything, anyone loving anyone is any of your business, it's actually not. If you think that that's the weirdest thing out there, I mean, what? Then you just haven't met enough weird people. I encourage you to get outside. No one should care what anyone chooses to do as long as they're two consenting adults. It really doesn't matter. You shouldn't boycott a movie because they've decided to make a character who was obviously gay from the beginning actually gay in the live action film. Come on, he followed Gaston all over the place. Like, that's love. I mean, I just think it's a little insane how in 2019 there's people who still think that a gay relationship makes someone weird. Meanwhile, the real weirdos hide out in plain sight. So remember, next time you want to make fun of someone for loving whoever they want to love, don't make fun of them, make fun of me instead. The candlestick loving girl. Maybe don't say that. That sounds very weird. I wish I didn't mention that. Candlestick girl? Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out huge. It helps any YouTube channel, and it really only takes a second. Smash that like button, watch it, subscribe, do me a favor so that I can keep doing this. At the time being, this is probably going to be my second last comedy video, and then I'm going to go on to movie reviews. But do stay tuned because I will have 1 or 2 more comedy episodes coming out before I start my semester. And thanks for watching. I had to make my bed again. Ooh, also, I'm gonna share my jumper with you. I was like, I'm gonna get that. You wanna know why? Because it's got pockets. Take note, you can make so much more money if you put pockets. Pockets in your clothes, people. Put pockets in your clothes. Look how over my shit Moses is. He was like, girl, get a job. Get a job that gives you hours. Stop making videos at home.